Okay, welcome back, guys. So we're going to be working on the feet. So let's get right to it. So I need to max out some part of the feet. So let me just make sure I'm still on the layers in there. Yeah, I'm still on primary shapes. I guess I'm still on primary shape, though I'm sculpting both primary and secondary shapes in there, but I still have everything in my primary shape layer. Well, that's fine. Let's just continue. Let's just continue. So I need to go to the lower subdivision level, then I'll just grab this part like so, and I'll give that a separate poly group. So Ctrl W to give that a separate poly group. Symmetry is turned on, that's fine. So let's isolate this. So we're going to be working with just this piece. So I'm going to be using this reference in here. Though this is a female feet, I also have some other reference for a female feet. This one looks more like a male's feet, but it can also work for a female feet. It's definitely a female feet, obviously, with the toe. What's it even called? Painting on the toes, or rather nail. Is it nail polish or nail paints? What is it even called? I've totally forgotten. This is also a female's leg, female's feet rather. This one looks more like a male's feet, but I think we can also use it as a female feet also. But I think our main reference will be this, but we'll just make it a little more simplified and not too. This one looks more like a female's feet, so we'll make it as edgy as this one is. But I want to be this as a main reference. So let's get. I think I'd like to start from this view. So let's start with this view. Okay. One thing we need to think I've done that already when we were blocking out some of the shape. Let me take down the smooth intensity and give them standard. Okay. Yeah, this should work. Okay, let's carry on. So now this particular one already looks detailed. So let's look for something that is a bit more simplified. I think I should have something a bit more simplified somewhere here. A little more of a simplified shape to it. Yes, something like this should. Yeah, this one is overly simplified. That's if you're starting from scratch. But I think we can work with this instead. So this is a more simplified structure of it. So let's go in and begin to blocking some of this. So I'm going to start with this view. So let's go to the other side, because we need to kind of simplify this shape a bit more. So we get a better idea as to what we are doing in there. Okay. So I'm going to use the dem standard brush. Under the stroke, make sure lazy mouse is turned off. For the standard brush, make sure lazy mouse is turned off too. Same for the clay builder brush. Okay, so back to the dem standard brush. Take down the intensity. I think I need to move this new reference we have to that place. Where is it? Okay, I need to make more space and push this in. Get some more space around here. Let me just get this in place so, so it's easier for me to kind of navigate through them. Alright, that's fine. Okay, so back to this shape. So them standard, and I'll just create an indentation around here. That's just to it small to the side, so should be somewhere around here. Get this around here also, something like that. We'll still fix that later on though, but now let's just get that shape in there. Another separation around here, something around here also, and something around here. I think we need to go one subdivision level higher for this, but let's just kind of see if we can block this out in this subdivision level instead. Let's get this shape in here. There's already a shape in here, so I'm not going to hold out and kind of get a shape like so. So we don't know, it's kind of accentuate that a bit more. Then we'll come to the top. I think let's solo this. You can see how they're like, can we find a top view? Let's go to the other side instead. So let's go to this view like so. Let's block in some of this shape. So we have this shape going all the way like this. So with the them standard brush, I'm just going to build something on here like this. Okay, like so. It's not so obvious, but it's still in there. Hold Alt and kind of carve out something like this. Get a depth around here. Another depth around here. There's a shape around here. Let's just carve this in. Okay, I think we need to do some of this in one subdivision level higher, but for now, let's just continue like so. So from the top, you can see some. Here is a better example from the side. It's a perfect example from the side. But this other one is going to, this other fit is going to be blocking it. The right fit is blocking it, but that's fine. Let's just get the shape in there as we need. So I'm going to hold Alt and kind of create a shape around here. Something like that. Then from the top view, you can see some depth around here. You can see depths around here. Same thing we did for the, same thing we had for the hand. So I'm going to go from this top view, maybe increase this intensity a bit more. So I'm just going to carve some depth around here. Okay, something like that. These fingers, we need to, the toes rather, we need to fix that properly though. Just need to Maybe instead let me use the max lasso and just max out all of this like so. Blur the max, invert the max, and I'm going to inflate this a little bit, way too much. That's way too much. Maybe this size might work. Maybe this size is just fine, but we'll see. Let's leave that for now. Okay, so now if we go one subdivision level higher, we should begin to see some of those shapes we blocked in kind of peeking through a little bit. Though it's not very obvious, but we can see a little of that poking out. I need to modify this a bit more. Shape is looking a bit weird, so let me just change this up like so. With them standard brush, let's repeat that again. Holding alt, kind of get an edge to it around there. So more or less like kind of redoing those shapes again. Though I think the clay build-up brush should have been better, but let me just kind of get those depths in first. Okay. Get some shape around here. Smooth that down a bit more. Smooth this down a bit more. Let's go to the side. Okay. Yeah, it's looking a bit weird, so let's just get a shape around here. Get some depth around here. Use the move brush and kind of fix some of the shape in here. Okay. Can see some of the shape peeking through a bit more, so all the way here like this. Let's get something in here, something that goes all the way at the back. Hold alt and just get a line around here, smooth that down. The shape around here like so. So I think I can use the clay builder brush now to just build some of this shape just a bit more. Let's smooth this down on the side. But you don't want to go too much, you don't want to go overboard on that shape around. Make this under part a bit thicker. So respecting that edge you created around here, smooth this. Oh, my smooth intensity is quite small, so let's smooth this out. Oops, now that's way too much. So somewhere around 10 should be fine. Go to the other side. This is just more or less to get a base pass. Just get a base pass on this before you use some better reference images to kind of get the shape in there. So let me just smooth this out a bit more. The center part not too much. I'm just going to leave that, almost like leave that the way it is. Shape here doesn't feel right. The shape here doesn't feel right. Let's just smooth this down a bit more. We're going to raise this like so. Smooth that down. Probably even use the H polish. You just polish something like so. Now smooth this down. I need some more depth around here, so I'm going to use this standard brush, hold alt. Now that's way too much. Take down the intensity. Smooth this down. Get some more depth around here. Smooth that out. Okay, so now we can there's something else I would like to do in here. There's something else I'd like to do in here for the toes. Let's see. I'd like to put them so I can work with them as an individual piece. So I'm going to use the max lasso and just max them out as separate individual piece. Yeah, I do that correctly. Shift F, Control W for that. I'll hide that. Go to the next one. Okay. Almost done. Okay, I think let's bring everything back, but let's get all of this, then invert the selection to have this piece. Let me just do a quick save. Okay, yeah, okay, so Shift F I would like to work on this particular one. No, let me bring out the gizmo. So control click on this particular polygon, so that will kind of max it out, and I can just blow it out some more. Then I can just work, and I can just I seem to capture some of this in here. Well, that's fine. Just to work on this a bit more. So I'm going to be using the clay build up brush. Let's find a good angle for this, like so. No, take a better brush should be the inflate brush, BIN. So I only inflate the parts I need to be inflated. Yeah. Okay. We're also going to create fingernails for this, for the toes. So I'm basically just trying to make it a bit thicker. Let's get some shape around around the knuckle region. Yeah, something like something like that should be fine. Just smooth this down a bit, just a little bit more. Something like that should be fine. So hold control and tap on, hold control and tap, hold control and tap on this, blur the marks. I like to inflate this on the side a bit more to make the edge a bit thicker. Okay, let's get something around here for the knuckles, something around here also. Maybe that's way too much. Tone this down a bit more. Something like this should be fine. So if you go from the side view, you should be able to see some height on top of this knuckle, like so. That's precisely what we need. Blur this out. Repeat the same process for this edge. For this edge also. Let me get something that is kind of facing me, like so instead. Okay. So something on the side. Then inflate the top where the knuckle should be. Do the same for this side also. Kind of blend this in a bit more. Smooth this down a little bit. Inflate the side. Okay. Blow this out. Inflate the sides. Let's get some inflation around here. Okay. Look at this from the side. Let's see how much of that we added. Smooth this down to get a blend. Increase this on the side. Let's get some height around here, like so, and around here also, like so. Smooth it down a bit more. Okay. So I'm kind of gotten some shape around here. Maybe with the inflate brush, I'll just accentuate that a bit more. This one should be a bit more. ish, but not too much because this is more like a female's feet, so we don't want to go too extreme. Yeah, something pretty much like this should be fine. Let me just connect it down a bit more. All right. So I blocked out the shapes in there. So let's look for, or rather in the next tutorial, we'll look for, just use the reference image I found online to kind of add some more secondary passes to this to make this a bit better. Smooth this down. Smooth this down a bit more. The shape here looks weird. Shape around here looks weird. So I'm going to hold out and then deflate this down a bit more. Maybe inflate this around here first and deflate this at the top. Get a to get a shape like, no, this will not work. I think the H polish brush will do a better job. Okay, let's start with the damn standard brush and then kind of carve something around here. That looks weird on the side. I don't know if I'm going overboard or something. Let me just, let's get a gentle smooth around the edges. Okay, feel like some shapes are missing around these parts. Let me get the inflate brush. Something like so. Smooth, smooth. Yeah, from the top view, this actually looks nice from the top view. So in the next lesson, we're just going to be using a more realistic reference image and then try to get some more, a bit more of an interesting shape around this fit. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next lesson. Bye for now.